Greetings, I'm Dev the Developer.
And I'm Glitch.
We spent the past several videos building out our bank account class. Properties, constructors, encapsulation, the whole thing. It's solid, but it's been living in Program.cs the whole time, jammed right in next to program code, and that arrangement is starting to feel a little crowded. Today we fix that. One class, one file, the way every real C# project is organized. So here's the situation. Pull up Program.cs and you've got two different things going on in the same file. Up top, your main program code, creating accounts, calling methods, and then below that, the entire bank account class definition. 50-something lines of properties and constructors and methods all piled together.
I mean, it still compiles though. What's actually wrong with it?
Nothing's wrong with it. The compiler doesn't care. But imagine the class doubles in size, or you add a second class, a third. Pretty soon you're scrolling through a 300-line file trying to figure out where the program ends and the class begins. It gets hard to navigate quickly.
Okay, so the problem isn't correctness, it's just finding stuff.
That's most of it. The convention in C# is one class per file, and the file is named after the class. So bank account lives in BankAccount.cs. Program code lives in Program.cs. Each file has a single, clear purpose, and when you want to find something, you know exactly where to look.
That's actually a pretty clean rule. One class, one file, file name matches class name.
Visual Studio even enforces it by default when you add a new class. Let's do that. In the Solution Explorer, right-click the project, not the solution, the project underneath it, and choose Add, then Class. Name it BankAccount.cs and click Add.
Oh, it generated a stub automatically. There's already something in the file.
Right, Visual Studio fills in the namespace for you, and that's actually the next thing we need to talk about, because there's a line at the top of that file you probably haven't seen before.
Yeah, what is namespace greetings? Is that new syntax?
It's called a namespace declaration. It's not new, but it might be the first time you've seen it explicitly. A namespace is basically a name container for your code. Think of it like a folder. Everything inside the same namespace belongs to the same group.
Okay, so every file in the project needs to declare the same namespace so they're all in the same group.
Exactly. And there are two ways to write it. The old way uses curly braces. That wraps the entire class inside a block, which adds one extra level of indentation to everything in the file. The modern way skips the braces entirely. It's the same behavior, but the namespace applies to the whole file. You just lose the extra indentation and the closing brace. It's cleaner and much easier to read. Use this one.
Wait, so the semicolon at the end is what makes it file scoped. That's the whole difference.
That's it. Semicolon instead of an opening brace. One character and the whole file is in that namespace without any wrapping block.
Oh, that's a surprisingly small change for a meaningfully different behavior.
Welcome to C# syntax design. Okay, so we need to move the bank account class from Program.cs into this new file. Let's cut it out of Program.cs and paste it into BankAccount.cs below the namespace declaration. Good. Now let's look at what's left in Program.cs.
It's just the program code now, but wait. Do I need to add a using statement or something? Like, how does Program.cs know where to find bank account if it's in a different file?
Let's find out. Add the namespace declaration to Program.cs, one line at the very top.
Okay, namespace greetings at the top of BankAccount.cs done.
Good. Now try to build it.
Wait, I added the namespace and now it broke. It says it can't find bank account.
What do you think happened?
Bank account is in the greetings namespace now, and Program.cs is not. They're in different groups, so the compiler can't see across the boundary.
Exactly. So what do you need?
A A using statement using greetings at the top of Program.cs.
Give it a try.
Oh, that's it, one line.
That's what using is for. It tells the compiler which namespace to look in when it encounters a name it doesn't recognize. Bank account is in greetings. You told Program.cs to look in greetings and found it.
So I do need the using statement. I just need it for my own namespace, not for every file in the project individually.
Right, one using per namespace. However many files are in that namespace. Now, you've been calling console.writeLine this whole time without writing using system anywhere. How does that work?
I have no idea. I just assumed it was always available.
Modern .NET projects turn on something called implicit global usings by default. System.collections.generic, system.link. A handful of the most common namespaces are automatically included in every file in the project. You get console, list, dictionary without writing anything. Your own namespaces don't get that treatment. Those you have to bring in yourself.
Wait, so if implicit global usings handles system and same namespace types just see each other automatically, when would I actually need to write a using statement myself?
When you bring in a library that's outside both your namespace and the implicitly included ones. You'll see that when we start working with NuGet packages. But for everything inside your own project, you're right, you usually won't need to.
That's actually kind of elegant. The separation is real at the organizational level, but the compiler treats the whole project as one coherent unit underneath.
That's a good way to put it. Each file is its own domain, its own area of responsibility, but they all compile together. The organization is for you, not for the compiler. It's how you keep a growing project from becoming one giant pile.
Separate domains, each managing their own concerns, all operating under a unified namespace. A coordinating structure that links all the constituent nodes without requiring explicit cross-references between individual components. Phase 1 of any distributed architecture really does benefit from that kind of clean segmentation. You define the boundaries early, establish the namespace, and then each module can expand independently without interfering with the others. Each one self-contained, each one addressable, the whole network organized from the top down.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear most of that.
I was talking about software architecture, file organization. It's a very standard principle.
Yes, for files in a project, specifically.
Right, that's what I said.
Moving on, let's take stock of where we landed. Look at the Solution Explorer, and you've got two files under the project. BankAccount.cs has the class, Program.cs has the program. Both declare namespace greetings at the top. The program runs exactly as it did before. Nothing about the behavior has changed. All we did was separate concerns into the right containers.
And this is just how you're supposed to do it. Every C# project, every team, this is the convention.
Every C# project. And the rule is simple enough that you just apply it by reflex from here on. New class goes into its own file, named after the class. Same namespace as everything else in the project.
Okay, so one thing I want to confirm. The namespace name greetings, is that always the project name?
By convention, yes, and Visual Studio fills in automatically when you use the add class dialog, so you don't have to think about it. The generated stub already has the right namespace. You just paste your class in and you're done.
That's genuinely one of those things that seems like it would be complicated, and it's just not.
Once you've done it once, it takes about 15 seconds. Create the file, cut and paste, build. That's the whole operation. The namespace line is the only part that's new, and it's one line with a semicolon.
In 15 seconds to go from a tangled single file to a properly organized project.
The hard part was building the class. The organization is putting it where it belongs. Now that you've got bank account in its own file, you've got the foundation for adding more classes to this project cleanly, which is exactly where we're headed. Go do it yourself. Create a file, move the class, make sure both files share the same namespace, and confirm the program still runs. Don't just watch it, do it.